Everyone, welcome to Programming Knowledge. So I again welcome you all to Programming Knowledge. So guys, this is the GitHub link of my repository. So like you can download this project, clone this project, and I have defined below the instruction how you can run this project on your local machine. So guys, welcome to Programming Knowledge. So let's get started with this tutorial. So basically this is the new repository, and we are working on Django projects repository. So basically we were working on a calculator app. So this was the layout of our app. So this was responsive. You can press Ctrl Shift I, or you can simply right click and click inspect. So this is the responsive nature of our app. So basically we can type anything 2 plus 3 and we are going to reset. So this we are able to implement this functionality. The next part we are going to do, basically we are going to add instructions block as well as define a form submission URL to the page, and then we will build a backend logic with exception handling as well. Okay, so let's get started with this tutorial. So basically what we can do, so this we can define a list li class is equal to nav item. Okay, then same way a anchor tag which is represented by a nav link. Good. And href is equal to hash instructions. Okay, and instructions. Yeah, good. So this works fine. So we can I would we can move to the page and see this. Okay, yes, we can see here instruction has come, but as soon as click, because I have not defined the instructions ID, so what we can do, we can move to this and we can see this row which represents the about block. So I'll copy this row, Control C, and then I'll press Control V. So I'll do this as instructions. Okay, good. And I have to define an instruction ID here as well, because hash instructions. Yeah, good. So I have defined the hash instructions. So I can so we can define some instructions. So how we can define them, what we can do, we can move to bootstrap and use list group. So in this way we can learn a new thing also. This is a list group which also has list group item in it. So here are many, you can choose any style of you. So I'll use this one. Okay, so what I can do, I'll move this paragraph and put this list group, and I'll move to the page. And yeah, here you can see here the instructions I've defined. So when I click on instructions, okay, so there might be some issues. Hash instructions. Okay, there is an issue. Hash. Okay, you don't need to define a hash inside, because when I was referring here, okay, let me go over. Yeah, hash instructions. When I click on this, I'll move to this because this ID is only instructions. So there was by mistake an hash instructions. So okay, I'll refresh this page. Yeah, good. Now I click on instructions, I move to this block. Okay, this is now this is working fine. So we can define some instructions here, like plus sign. We can define we can define some instructions. Plus for addition. Okay, and simply something like star for multiplication. Okay, something like and we can define this for division. Okay, and basically we're working in Python, so we might be using Python, and this is for floor division. Yeah, and we can try also like this for minus. Okay, so basically we have defined some instructions like plus for addition, minus multiplication, division, floor division. We can another define like something like this also. Parenthesis also we can define. Okay, we can define, or we can define as brackets. Okay, or we can simply type parenthesis. I think parenthesis. Okay, so basically parentheses are used to define a priority, like if you want to evaluate first that parenthesis then next. So we would move to the page and I'll refresh this page. Okay, so this looks good. Plus for addition, minus multiplication, division, floor division, and parenthesis. Okay, so this looks fine. So what we can do define, we can define a new URL here. So we'll try, now we'll move to some backend part. So I'll move to urls.py file. So I'll define a path is equal to submit query. Okay, and views dot submit query, and I'll give this a name as equal to submit query. Okay, so I'll define some single quotes here, submit query. Okay, now this is fine. Now I'm referring to submit query in views folder, so I'll go to views. So this is throwing me an error because since I have not defined a submit query in my views. So define submit query. Okay, and I'll take a request as a parameter, and what I can do till now I will define pass statement here. Okay, so this looks fine. And now in my HTML page, I would move to my HTML page, and what I can do, I have an action here. Yes, percent URL is equal to submit query. Yes, this looks fine. Okay, so this looks fine. Yeah, this is submit query, fine. Now I would move to my submit query block. Use dot submit query. Yes. Okay, and I'll return what I can do. I'll take q as a parameter, and request dot get query, because I would show one thing, that inside my form I can move to the form. uh, yeah yeah, here you can see that input type is equal to text form control, and here the name is query. So you should have the same name uh, for the get parameter as well. So in my views.py file, that's why I'm type request dot query, because this refers to the same name in the form we were referring to. So what we can do, so I will return an HTTP response of q. Okay, so this should work fine. Now I'll move to the page and I'll refresh this. Okay, this is still now fine. 2 plus 3 star 5. So I should submit this. Yeah, now this is working fine. Here you can see that I went to the route so I'll quickly give a overview of this, what I did. So here you can see that first I defined inside my navbar, I gave hash instructions and defined an instructions block. So basically you can these were instructions: plus for addition, minus multiplication, division, floor division, parenthesis. Okay, now then I went to urls.py file, then I defined a path submit query, which calls the function views.submit query. The name is equal to submit query. Then I went to the views.py file, then I did request.get query, and q is equal to this. Okay, so return HTTP response of q. Okay, so this is fine. What we can do also, in the same way, we can return a JSON response as well. For this you have to import JSON response, and you can do JSON response of q. So I'll make a get request. Okay, what you need to do, you need to define a JSON dictionary, and here you can define q is equal to q, and and then I have to return a JSON dictionary. Yeah, here you can see now this is working as a JSON object which says q parameter and then 2 plus 3 star 5. Okay, so for a JSON response you have to define a dictionary, because then it works like a JSON object. Okay, so in this way we can define an HTTP response as well. So yeah, now this is fine. So I'll quickly do this. Yeah, this is working fine. Okay, so I'll move to the page. Okay, I'll type something else, -2, then reset button. I'll copy this. Reset button works fine. I'll paste it here and submit. Yeah, now this is working fine. So in the next video, what we can do, I would be adding exception handling and how we can evaluate this result. So evaluating the result would be very easy, as Python is very powerful in mathematical operations. So, and we would be adding try and except statement as well. If the calculation has in some error, what we can do. So exception handling will be also added. So thank you guys. Thank you so much.